Hi, this is Claude Von Stroke, and I am in the hills up in north of San Francisco, California. Disc 1 wasn't that hard because it was just choosing tracks that I felt kind of defined the label. And then disc 2 was all up to Justin Martin, who really did a great job kind of remaking a lot of the tracks. He had the parts to a lot of things, so it's not just a traditional mix CD. He was able to actually almost remix a lot of the tracks and make his own little project out of it, which was really cool. But disc 3 was hard because it's 14 new tracks. And it takes me like 3 months just to find one new record. So to find 14 tracks that I liked, it was hard, but it all worked out. I like all the tracks on there, and they all have a little bit of a different flavor, but they all fit. And so it was tough, but it was cool. It was definitely the biggest CD project we ever released. Disc 3 was interesting because we're not really known for going that far out of San Francisco. Usually we release most of our own people, or at least US people. Disc 3 is loaded with new Europeans and maybe some a little bit more established. My favorite stuff on there is still the stuff from San Francisco. I really think the Duckface track by Chris and Justin, the Martin Brothers, is really like a good defining track of what our label sounds like. Kind of a hip hop cross hybrid house track. I really like a lot of stuff on there. I mean, the Donk Boys track works. It's probably the best club track that I've played out in a while. It's just so jackin', like almost like Chicago, but it's all freaky, like old Cashmere stuff. And there's, what else do I like everything on there. I really like the Kink track, Elevator. I play everything, the Hiccups thing, everything is good. Chris's track, Polar Bear, is really unusual and kind of almost in the dubstep realm. And so it's like taking some risks in that way. I really like that track, all of it. I have kind of a very strict A&R, and I always ask myself, when I'm listening to a demo or something, at the end of the listen I say, yeah, well, okay, that's a really great record maybe, but is that really a Dirty Bird record? I don't know, we have to decide. Usually I know right away if it's a Dirty Bird record. And then if it isn't a Dirty Bird record but it's amazing, it usually ends up on Mothership.
Has it been hard to keep that Dirty Bird sound up? Has it been? Have you struggled to find people who are sort of doing the same thing or in the right mindset for you?
It's a little bit hard because people kind of lump us into a group, and they think that it is a certain way, but it's maybe not that way. Like for a while we were being excuse me. For a while we were being lumped in with fidget, but we're not really fidget, and then some people were calling us minimal, but we're not really minimal. So I don't know how to What was the original question?
Has it been hard to find people who are like?
Oh yeah, so it really is hard to find people that actually get the sound, like actually really understand the sound, instead of just trying to put a bunch of big bass noises and some funny samples together. I think that you have to understand a little bit more than that. It's kind of almost down to what you listen to when you grew up, kind of thing. I feel like if you listen to hip hop and maybe James Brown and drum and bass, maybe you'd have a better chance of figuring out what to do on Dirty Bird than if you like grew up on Depeche Mode and Nine Inch Nails. Whether anybody wants to admit it or not, it's you are recreating your favorite music in a different way. That's just, you can't help it. That's what happens. And so maybe you're combining everything. Maybe I'm taking all these little bits from funk and things and making them into something else, but it's still all comes down to what did you listen to when you were a kid that really blew your mind. The album, it went over really well. We had a couple really nice like vocal chords, and the track I did with Justin were like really pretty big tracks that a lot of people played, so I was really happy. And there were some tracks on there that kind of got niche market plays, like a little more underground and stuff, like the Storm on Lake Sinclair and the Big and Round track. You know, more booty people or more minimal people picked up on that kind of stuff.
It seemed quite playful in parts as well, the album. It seemed like you weren't taking it too seriously. I don't mean that in a bad way. It seemed like you were sort of having...
Well, I never really do. I mean, I take it seriously as far as the quality, but I don't really want to be that mean guy. I'm just not really like that. My whole philosophy is that everybody is doing this. The end result of all of this stuff is for people to go and dance in a room and have a party. And so, I mean, why would you want the party to be boring or depressing or mean? I mean, don't you want to have a fun party with lots of girls and